Hello, this is Mike from ASAwins. We're going to touch on our thoughts on a couple NFL teams and NFL thoughts in general after 2 weeks. We'll get to that in just a moment. If you want to see our thoughts on a majority of the teams, I've got an article posted at www.asawins.com. Again, thoughts on a majority of the NFL teams and what we think after 2 weeks and moving forward for some of those teams as well. We started out the season on an outstanding note. We are 10-3 in college football overall this year, 2-0 on top games in the NFL. 3-0 last Sunday, including a top game winner on Buffalo, a 35-0 win. We started the season very well overall. We hope to continue that and expect to continue that this weekend. We've got some great games in college spotted and the NFL. We'll have top games in both this weekend again, along with a big slate in each. So check out all of our packages at www.asawins.com. Now our thoughts in the NFL from the last few weeks. First of all, underdogs. Underdogs have been barking, to say the least. 21-11 against the spread after 2 weeks, with 15 outright wins by the underdogs. Now, we expect that to even out as the season goes on, but right now, underdogs are the way to go in the NFL. 21-11 against the spread. Turnovers continue to be the number one most important thing when it comes to covering the spread in the NFL. It's a post-game stat, very hard to predict, but if you could give us one stat pre-game, it would be turnovers. If you could tell us who was going to win the turnover margin before the game started, we would make piles of money every week in the NFL. So far this year, the team that wins the turnover margin in the NFL on a game-by-game basis is 22-3 against the spread after 2 weeks. That's 22-3 if you win the turnover battle, and historically it's right around 80%. So this isn't just a one-time thing this year. That's the way it goes. You win the turnover battle, you're going to cover in the NFL. Let's talk a little bit about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They won 48-25 last week against Atlanta. Score was a little bit deceiving. They got actually outgained in that game. They had 2 defensive touchdowns, which helped them get to 48 points. They averaged 1 point for every 7 yards gain, which is ridiculously efficient. Again, that has a lot to do with the 2 defensive touchdowns as well. They average 1 point for every 9.8 yards after 2 weeks. That's number one in the NFL. Their touchdown drives last week on offense, they had 5 touchdown drives. The number of plays in those drives, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 8 plays. 5 touchdown drives of 3 plays, 4 plays, 5 plays, 6 plays, and 8 plays. Tampa Bay has been extremely efficient on offense. This week, they're an underdog as we speak here, +1 at the LA Rams. We wouldn't be surprised if that switches by the time the game starts and Tampa is a favorite. If not, keep an eye on the fact that Tom Brady, in his career as an underdog since he took over in 2001 for the New England Patriots, 39-17 against the spread as an underdog for Tom Brady. Something to keep an eye on. Green Bay last night, let's talk about the Packers. Topped Detroit 35-17. They were trailing at halftime. They got outgained in the game on a yards per play basis and the total yards per game. Their defense gave up over 6 yards per play to Detroit last night. Their defense has not been good thus far. In fact, as of halftime last night, in the first game and a half of the season, they had faced 12 offensive possessions between the Saints and the first half of the Lions game. 12 offensive possessions. The defense gave up points on 9 of those 12 possessions. Not good. They have 1 sack on the season. As a whole, Green Bay is getting outgained by almost 1 yard per play. They're giving up 5.7 yards per play this year, allowing gaining only 4.8 yards per play. And even more so in the trenches, they're getting beat on offense and defense. They are allowing 5.7 yards per carry after 2 games and only gaining 3.1 yards per carry. So they're getting beat up front. They're getting beat on a yards per play differential, and their defense hasn't been good. So Green Bay, some red flags with them. They go to San Francisco this week. They're 3.5-point underdogs to San Francisco, who's banged up on offense a little bit, but their defense has been great. We'll keep an eye on that game and see if Green Bay can progress at all in that game. Again, go to our website, asawins.com. Check out our entire NFL report and check out our packages for the weekend, the month of October, and the rest of the season, and top game package as well. We're 10-3 in college on the season, 3-0 last week in the NFL. Again, this is Mike for ASA Wins.